Hey everyone, it is Shannon and I'm here today to do my Friday Reads video. In my Friday Reads videos, I share the books that I finished, the books that I started, and anything interesting about books I'm carrying over week to week. And it is a brand new month. Happy May, blessed Beltane to those who celebrate. But it is still cold out there. You would not think it is May. Most of this week I was like thrilled when it was like 12 degrees Celsius, which is like I think mid 50s. It has not been, and like I open the windows on those days, and I can definitely see green on the tree, not the first tree, but the second tree out the window. So we are getting there. We are into spring. We are like 5 weeks into spring. It does not feel like it. It does not feel like it, but hopefully that is just, Mother Nature helping us out on staying at home. And all those things. I don't have any major updates in terms of, I often have been talking and doing a check-in about sort of like what's going on in the world and how things are here. I will leave a jump link down below to get to just the books if you only want to hear about the books and not the other stuff. I don't have too much to say though, that we haven't had many major changes here in Ontario. They did announce a staged plan for reopening things, but it's not, what do they kept on saying? It's a roadmap, not a calendar. So it has sort of what we need to hit, the targets we need to hit to start to go into different stages of reopening things, and it's geared on decreasing number of cases. I turned my phone on D&D. So sorry for that little sorry. Anyway, so so that's what it looks like. We need decrease in numbers to get to whatever the next stage, and then to get to a further stage we need decreasing numbers, and we're not there yet. So hopefully people will continue to self-isolate and follow the current recommendations and stuff. I feel like I have noticed more people out, and I have noticed people closer than 2 meters apart, so I'm a little concerned that people aren't sticking through and sticking to the parameters. Now, people can be closer than 2 meters apart if they live together, because when they live together, you tend to be, closer than 2 meters apart, but I've definitely seen some people that I'm like, but that's just a very small sampling of everything that's going on out there. Just what I can see through the window. So I'm not like spying or anything, but you notice things, right? You notice things, and so I'm a little concerned, but yeah, so hopefully we can keep on keeping on. It was a bit of a challenging week here in Canada. We did have not one, but two tragedies, so that has been tough. So following the news, it's been a tough week. I stick with it because I think it's important to stay informed and stay aware, but I definitely find that I sort of like, I check in, I find out what's going on, and then I have to leave it for the day, because it was a tough week. I found it was a tough week, and it was a bit of a tough month. I ended up with April, like my reading in April was not great. It was the lowest it's been since January, which is fine. I still read pretty much every day, I think every day. And I had a lot to do. Like I had a lot to organize this month, and getting new systems in place for food and groceries and meal prep, and then all of the stress of all the things. So being different and setting that up, so that took a lot of my energy, and so I was still really busy up until I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, when I mailed my taxes, because I did my taxes on time, even though it was extended to June 1st. I did them on time, and I mailed them away. And that day I came home and I made a cup of tea and I had a chocolate croissant, and I crashed. I crashed hard. Like I was just done. I had no idea that I was holding so much until that moment, and then bam, I was done. So yeah. So I've done some reading, but not tons of reading, but let's get to some of the reading I did. I did do a bit of a push to the end of the month and finished off a few things, including Fahrenheit 451. This is by Ray Bradbury. This I read for the Rereadathon that is hosted by Alex Black and Abby Mack Reads. And the prompt for April was to read a genre you don't normally read anymore, and this is dystopic. So this is, if you're unfamiliar with Fahrenheit 451, it's set in a dystopic future where firemen actually set fire to books as opposed to put out fires. Books are outlawed, and if if people are caught with books, the books are destroyed. So there's no, so it's no, you're not sort of supposed to have free thought. You're just supposed to enjoy life and listen to jingles and watch TV and not think, pretty much. And I really enjoyed it. I read this a long time ago. I actually have the original receipt from when I bought it, and you can barely make it out. You can see, I don't know if you can tell, but I have my employee discount from Lightman's, where I used to work many years ago. So that has survived in this book. This is the first book I had that has yellowed on its own from when I bought it new. Yeah, and I read it when I originally bought it, and but I originally was introduced to it by the film, I didn't even realize until I read the afterword on this. It's Francois Truffaut, I think, is the French director, and Julie Christie plays the sort of ingenue character. She's more of an ingenue in the film than this. So it's funny because I have much more stronger memories of the film than of reading the book, but still, it was a great read. I'm really glad that I read it. I finished it. It was my last finish of the month, and for the rereadathon, I have not been doing great. I've often been carrying over books and not finishing books within the month allotted, so I thought, okay, if I'm going to finish one more book, I want it to be my rereadathon book, and I started it on like the first of the month. I put it aside actually while I read Illuminae, because that's science fiction future set, so I try and keep my settings one book at a time. So I put it aside to finish Illuminae, which I did enjoy reading. Izzy did the live show early this week. That was definitely a highlight of the week, my goodness gracious, from this week. And both Sarah and Roz joined in as well, and they're going to join in for the buddy reading of Gemina next month. So if you haven't read Gemina and you've read Illuminae, you can join us next month for reading Gemina by Kristoff and Amie Kaufman. And yeah, so it was interesting to read both of them in the same month, like this and Illuminae. And yeah, so I finished Illuminae as well, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't, I talked about it a lot last week, and I don't have much more to say beyond what I already said, because I don't want to spoil any of the content, but I did enjoy it, and it was nice also just to, I don't always have the best of luck reading some of the really popular titles or BookTube darling titles, so it was really nice to really enjoy it. I had some not reservations, I don't really know. I think I said most of what I wanted to say last week or in the live show in the chat. So yeah, anyway, so Illuminae was a really fun read. I'm glad that I read it, and I'm looking forward to Gemina. So what else did I read? Okay, oops, I clicked the wrong thing. Okay, so this is a really creepy image, so if you don't like creepy images, maybe look away. I'm only going to show it for a moment because it just creeps me out. So I also read Lady Inger of Ostara by Ibsen. Isn't that creepy? It looks like a carved tree or something. I am not sure, but it's creepy. Okay, so I have another one that's less creepy. Let's look at this one. Okay, so Lady Inger of Oestraat. This is a play by Ibsen. He is a Norwegian playwright. I am reading through 9 of his works this year for the Stacking the Series challenge. This one is a historical. It's based on a real person, Lady Inger of Oestraat. I don't know if I'm saying that right. The spelling of Oestraat is different in different locations that I've looked up. And it follows a woman, Lady Inger, who she's a really strong female character, so that was definitely a pro, and I find that definitely to be the case in a fair amount of Ibsen plays, and it's one of the reasons why I like Ibsen plays. But this one, so she's Norwegian, and she's made a promise to her countrymen or country people about doing something or standing by something, and to be honest, I found this one more than a little confusing. I wasn't quite sure what. I could tell there was a weight behind this promise, and there was definitely tragedy, and there was definitely misdirection, but sometimes I couldn't tell what the misdirection was. Like, I could tell people were being misdirected, but I couldn't tell what the truth was. So she's trying to, I think what it is she's trying to regain the strength or sovereignty, maybe not sovereignty like kingship, but she's trying to get Norway to get its power back, and I don't know who was in power I don't know if it was Denmark or Sweden. It was a little hard to tell. And when I read the Wikipedia page, it said that this play was only shown like a couple times, and it was found to be very anti-Danish, and it didn't go over well. And so I don't know how often it's done, or if it's been reworked, or I'm not sure. And it definitely, there was a Danish lord or knight, and he was a bit of a cad, like a bit of a rake, and I don't know. And then like she had a daughter, and I could, but then I could, and so it's like, yeah, there's lots of misdirection, and I ended up feeling like I missed a lot of it. I would love to see a production of this one, because I feel like both her character, actually, and the Danish knight, and her daughter, all had really great roles, and there was at least one of the other people in her household that sort of helped running things. That was really interesting. And people were definitely vying for power. That's definitely what was going on here. But I couldn't tell who were really allies and who were trying to get one over on the other person. So that was the challenge I was having, and I missed I don't know the historical context. I was only like inferring it from maybe the foreword actually of this and maybe the Wikipedia page. So I was running on like very little information, but there were some really great speeches. There were some really great moments. I can imagine it would be a really interesting production, but there was just a few too many misdirection things, and some people maybe being referred to not by like their character name but by other names, and so I didn't know who people were, so it was a bit confusing, not the best, not my favorite Ibsen, that's for sure, but I finished it, so go me. I did actually finish and really enjoy Pack of Lies by Annie Bellet. This is the third book in the 20-sided Sorceress series, which I'm also reading for stacking the series. It's an urban fantasy series that follows a woman who is a sorceress, and sorceresses are very rare to the point of being mythical. It's a world where there are shapeshifters and stuff like that, but they're under, like, they know of each other, the different paranormal beings, mostly they know of each other, but the real world doesn't know that they exist. And this one, I really like these books. They're on the shorter side. They're more around 200 pages. They're a little lighter on the mystery and more heavy on the action, but not super gory. So for me, that hits a lot of the marks of that I enjoy, or conversely, a lot of other urban fantasy paranormal romance type series go really heavy on the gore or the mystery or the thrill factor, and I really like the action and the character and the friendships and stuff. So this one really ticks the boxes that I in particular really like, and they are a bit on the shorter side. So I'm really happy to be back to this series. I haven't read it, I think, for a couple of years, and I'm hoping to finish it off. It's a 10-book series, and I'm hoping to finish it off this year, but if they all are around the 200-page mark, I think I should be fine. I think it should be fine. I also started a new book, Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes. This is a Goosebumps book. I put in a poll up in my Instagram stories for this one, so thank you to everyone who voted. It was between this and I can't remember the first word it was something at Camp Jelly Jam, and I'm actually a little surprised that Vengeful Lawn Gnomes won over Camp Jelly Jam. I was voting for Jelly Jam. It's okay, I'll get to all of them eventually. So Lawn Gnomes it is. This one follows a boy whose family, his dad really loves taking care of the garden. So does their next door neighbor, and it seems like a bit of a rivalry going on, and so far the Lawn Gnomes have not appeared. But I'm sure that they will. He has a trying relationship with his older sister, and he's really friends with the next door neighbor's son, and so it's a fairly standard Goosebumps. I don't really need to explain Goosebumps, I don't think. They're kids' horror books, and they are a lot of fun, so I am enjoying this one. I'm also continuing over with The Crown Ain't Worth Much. This is a collection of poetry by Hanif Williams Abdurraqib, and I'm really sad that I didn't finish this in April, but I feel like with poetry, you can't force it, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I would just lose out on the power of it if I powered through it. So I've read a whole bunch last night, and then I was like, I have to call it. If I read any more, I'm not going to be absorbing it. And this is really quite intense stuff, and I am really enjoying it. I'm not enjoying it as much as the other book of poetry I read of his earlier this year, but it still is really, really good. That one I read on audiobook, so I don't know if that makes a difference. I don't know if this is unscribed, but I don't know if the audiobook is unscribed. I might have to check that out. So hopefully I will be, I'll probably finish this up pretty soon, within the next week or so. And I think that is it. Oh my goodness, this video is so short. What happened? Do I have to talk about more things? I don't know. So I guess it was a bit of a light reading week for me. And I don't know. I just trying to do the best I can. I think this whole everything that's going on is just sort of like now it's feeling very the same, and so that presents its own challenges. But I do have lots of books that I'm enjoying. I have lots of books I'm looking forward to. I will be posting a May TBR on the weekend. I'll also be posting my 1 second every day, which I really enjoy, but I have a new phone that I'm doing it on, and the app on the new phone, it only lets you pick 1 second, and the previous one allowed you like 1.5 seconds, and wow, that extra half second made all the difference. I find it a lot harder to capture anything with movement and anything with sound in only a second. So that little bit more just gave me so much more. And I find if it's only a second and there is no movement and there's never any sound, it's so much closer to a slideshow than a collection of videos that I almost feel like, I don't know if it's that I haven't adapted to capturing 1 second with movement and or sound, or if it's just 1 second is not enough to do that. So I'm not sure. Anyway, I didn't mean to go on a tangent of how I'm doing 1 second every day, but I don't get to talk about it in those videos because they are literally just like sort of like 30 seconds of clips. So let me know if you ever use that. It's an app. It's on I use it on Android, but I'm pretty sure it's on iPhone as well, and I really enjoy using it. And I originally saw it from Mel from Mel's Bookland Adventures. She posted it once, and I didn't even really understand what it was until later because the clips are so short, and you can but I really have fun doing it. It's a really interesting way to look back, and as things change so much or stay the same, I think it's very valuable to capture the time. I find it valuable to capture the time. In fact, I started off this year blogging because I wasn't vlogging, and I am gonna go back and do, I didn't mean to go, I'm just tangenting now. I am gonna go back and do a picture a day on my blog, but I'm very much backlogged, and I'm not even to the point of the pandemic, so it's really weird. But it's really reminding me that I find it valuable and important to understand time, and mark time, and be in the now and appreciate what you have in the now, because you don't know when things are going to change or how things are going to change or how they're going to impact you, and to think back on certain days when, I don't know. Anyway, I do like to reflect. Apparently, you learn a lot. I learn a lot. I learn a lot about myself. I learn a lot about the world. I learn a lot about different ways to think about things. So anyway, I'm getting philosophical, so it's definitely time to wrap it up. So yeah, that's my reading and thoughts, I guess, this week. So let me know what you're reading. Did you do a push to the end of the month? Were you successful? I finished two things. So this and Lady Inger. And then I went right to the lawn gnomes because I needed something a little lighter, and vengeful lawn gnomes. That's as light as I got this week. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Thanks for watching.